Hello, I'm Stephen Robinson. Welcome to the Playtyper Guy podcast. Joining me for our third annual Halloween extravaganza is my friend, author Laramie Dean, author of the book Haunt Me Then, which is out now. There you see it right there. I just downloaded it.
There we go.
And thank you for joining us again, Laramie. How
Thank
are
you for
you?
having me. Oh, feeling chipper.
Well, you have every right to be. I loved your first book, and we now have a link to folks who want to check that out if they haven't. But your second, I was very excited. You had a second one coming out, and I was even more excited when I saw that you described it as sort of gay Wuthering Heights or gayer, because I think the original was pretty gay.
Big gay Montana Wuthering Heights. I was well, it's funny because I've never been I was never really into the Brontes. I know that you and I are both Dark Shadows fans, and the last Dark Shadows storyline was a huge ripoff of Wuthering Heights, and that might have contributed to my I'm not being super into it. And then I saw a poster for the 1939 film with Laurence Olivier, and it was this really cool green spooky looking poster, and I was like, oh, I want to watch that. I started watching it and I was like, you know what, this could translate really well to Montana. This could translate really well to gay. There could be monsters. When he says take any form, I went, oh yes, I will use that. So I made it bigger and gayer and set in Montana in the 50s. Oh, and I threw in some of Hitchcock's Vertigo too, because
Ah,
why not?
no, I love Vertigo. I love thrillers of that sort. So this is interesting because you talk about their sort of general horror and creepiness, but then I love like in Wuthering Heights, I like the idea, and I'm sure people have read it, or I hope they have, or required to. It's always weird what's part of the canon, but the idea of being kind of in a spooky house overnight, someone telling you a story that's strange. I just love that framing device of Wuthering Heights is inherently spooky to me. I just love that. I love that aspect, and I love the tension that in the thriller, that stuff that Hitchcock did. We don't see a lot of that now, but it's something that works so well in fiction, and you know obviously supernatural horror. So there's gonna be spooky. There's actually legitimately horrific stuff in it, I'd imagine, because that's your jam, right? But you're sort of
Yeah.
touching on all the genres, which is kind of cool, right?
Well, my first book, I kind of coined the term Montana Gothic. Southern Gothic is a big thing right now. People love it. Gothic is still a big thing, and I love the Gothic, the gloomy and the creepy. And I grew up in a farmhouse in eastern Montana, which is basically the house where this novel takes place. And it was so spooky and so far from anything. I mean, we're 20 miles from the nearest town. Our neighbors were miles away. We were off of a road, like a highway that was not paved, and then another road that was even less paved to get down to our house. And as I was watching this version of Wuthering Heights, I thought, gosh, this reminds me so much of the house where I grew up in the winter of 95, 96, when it was routinely 50, 60 below zero. Even without wind chill that winter, I think it was that cold. And now I think about how it would feel to be that isolated. I mean, I live in a town. I live in a city. I don't think I could do that as an adult. I don't know how we did it when I was a kid. And it just seemed to lend itself to this story of in Wuthering Heights, it's Heathcliff and Catherine and their terrible, tortured, tumultuous love. But yeah, the Wuthering Heights opens with the Lockwood staying the night, and then here comes Catherine, and she's like clawing at the window. And that's one of the scariest things I can think of. That's what bothered me so much about Salem's Lot. Stephen King's Salem's Lot was the vampires at the window. Like when you're in your bed and you're trying to sleep and it's the most like vulnerable you could be, and here's a face at your window, especially if you're 2 or 3 uh floors up when there's nowhere there could be someone at your window. So that was where my jumping off point was. And I mean, actually the vertigo thing seemed to kind of built into Wuthering Heights too. With the I watched another version a couple of months ago from the BBC in the 60s,
Mhm.
and the same actor that plays Kathy in the first part plays her daughter Catherine in the second part, only in a blonde wig. Which, you know how much I love actresses to switch hair colors to be different characters. And I thought, gosh, this is very much like that moment in Vertigo when Jimmy Stewart is like, he keeps trying to find Madeline, he keeps trying to find Madeline, all these different women, and then he comes upon Judy, and she's dark-haired Madeline with the same, Kim Novak had those same eyebrows. She refused to get rid of. And so it seemed very natural as I was working. I mean, this book basically wrote itself. It was really kind of amazing to work in I teach Vertigo every year to my intermediate theater classes, and so I know it. But I've seen it 30 times over the last 15 years, and I feel like I know it pretty well at this point. And it just seemed to fit really nicely in here, where my main character loses the love of his life and then goes off to San Francisco to try to find um, another person to take his place. Um, and I think the last time we talked, or maybe it was just a private conversation we had, how even in Dark Shadows, it's very Vertigo. The
Mhm.
Barnabas kidnapping Maggie, uh, trying to turn her into this other woman is incredibly Vertigo. It's one of the most disturbing aspects of Vertigo is you try to force someone to become a person that they're not, so that you will love them. Kim Novak says, "I'll wear the darn clothes so long as you love me," and it's just the
Oh
saddest
yeah.
moment in the whole thing. So,
And I think later versions, when they try to um, revisit Dark Shadows, they don't sort of do Vertigo. They just try to do a traditional love story,
love story.
which you never really had with that. With that, it was clearly always Vertigo. Even when he moved on to Vicky, it was constantly the Vertigo. She will become this lost love who you get the sense never really loved him, which adds a bit of tragedy to it.
Oh,
Um,
totally.
and then the
And it's
queer subtext, because he's so, as we talked about, I think, as well in that conversation of how he's like, there's a scene I always love, like he's perfect, he's perfected her room, and it's all this, and he's kind of arranging the perfume bottles in a specific way, like
totally things straight
beyond
guys do.
exactly, like okay, like it is
And
just
the mirror has to be just right.
um
Absolutely a thing straight guys
yeah.
do.
Don't be afraid. This is your room. See? It's just as you left it, as we left it, long, long ago. Nothing has changed. Even we haven't changed. Or perhaps you've changed. You're more lovely, my dear Josette, than I remembered.
Josette.
Yes, from now on, that will be your name. A name of great beauty, and you must take it proudly. It's bestowed on you as the best honor I could pay to a mortal woman.
Josette.
Yes, in time, you will begin to think like her, act like her. You will become her.
I will become her.
Well, it's even creepier when he goes on to Vicky, because then it's like it doesn't matter who this woman is, so long as she has dark hair, I guess. Anybody could be
And
just that.
can
Anybody.
become who that was, and then he falls in love with like an actual literal stiff with Roxanne, and he describes like, when I saw her lying there so still, like, that's weird, like why are you telling him on that? So but there but there is something from a horror standpoint that is appealing about that, or from a thriller standpoint, that sort of that sense of obsession
Hmm.
is compelling. Let me ask you this. So, because the term Gothic is thrown around a lot, Gothic horror, Gothic fiction, again with Dark Shadows as well. How would you define, if you're sort of teaching it to your students or just to lay people, what do you see as the pillars of sort of Gothic fiction or Gothic horror?
An obsession with the past. The past, that's really important. The past needs to materialize in the present somehow, or someone needs to be obsessed with the past. Um, the traditional Gothic has a house, some kind of a house, preferably spooky, preferably old, preferably haunted or fake haunted. If you're gonna do some of the castle of um is it on Toronto? I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Um there needs to be uh, fear. There needs to be people having strong reactions to their surroundings. Uh, and of course, if it's the 60s, if you're looking at the 1960s, all those paperback Gothics, there needs to be some young woman in a diaphanous gown holding a candle, running away from a house. There needs to be that element. I actually found a really cool. It was kind of a pastiche. The writer was obviously a Dark Shadows fan. It was called The Master of Seaview, I think, or Seacliff, and it was a gay Gothic. It even had a cover with a hole in the front of it, so when you opened it, the what like you would see the main character's face through the hole, and then you open up the cover, and there's another cover inside with a different picture, like all those paperbacks from the 70s and 80s. It was really cool. Uh, that had the all the clankings and trappings of noises in the night and portraits and cliffs and running and wind. And actually, I've got this one on my desk. Gaywick. Where's the camera? There we go. Vincent Verga. Where's his name? Is it there? Oh, it's really tiny. It's right there. But I mean, look at this. I love this. This is Jane Eyre. This is Wuthering Heights. This is, you know, the dark and the light and the what Stephen King calls the Dionysian and the Apollonian, right? The daytime and the nighttime um, elements that clash and are fused together. And uh, so, did that answer
Oh
your
yeah.
question? Those are the
Well,
pillars of Gothic. But I think the big one is
yeah.
the past reaching into the present. I think that's the biggest one.
Well, and it's interesting because so The Shining has a lot of that, right? So of the past, but it's in this hotel in a sense to sort of make it kind of almost a working class entry into that, because it's not a
Hmm.
grand, it couldn't be a grand estate, but it's sort of a grand estate, right? That lots of people lived in. That was always something that I found appealing about Dark Shadows, the idea of a closed wing of the house that people don't go to, which
Where secrets
you know
are.
yes, secrets, especially if you're a kid, that you could actually go sneak off into, or that there's literally a rotting house that you could go play in. Like David's just playing in a rotten, moldy house. It's gonna look.
Hopefully the
But
floorboards don't collapse and he gets
yes,
impaled on something.
your one job as a governess is to make sure your kid doesn't go into the rotten, moldy, dilapidated
Well,
house, and then
okay,
teach
this
him
is
English, but just try not to
right.
let him get
And
killed.
maybe
That's
some
the
math.
yeah.
Maybe a little bit of social. So this is what's really cool about where I grew up too, is we had like our farmhouse was this really pretty big farmhouse, but on the hill above it was the old homesteader cabin that my great grandmother and her husband built in the 1819 early 1900s, I think. But they raised, oh man, I said the wrong number the last time. I think it was four boys, maybe five, and she lived up there until she died in 1980. But it was almost like, and I didn't really think about this when I was a kid, but it was like having an old house. We just were never really allowed to go up there. Of course, see above, re rotten floorboards. And it's still there. I went out to the country this summer and I couldn't actually go down the road because it was, well, I don't know who owns the house, I don't know who owns the property anymore, and I didn't want to get shot. So I stayed on the main highway, but I could see that the homesteader cabin was still on the hill above the house. So Yeah. It's just funny how it just translates these elements that seem so British or so for rich people, like you said, the working class is a huge thing in The Shining. Jack and Wendy are about as working class late 70s as you can get. Neither of them have jobs. They have a kid. They're on their last legs. This hotel is sort of the last their last hope to survive. But the past very much comes back. Jack's past, Wendy's past, the hotel's past, all kind of converge and then clank and are creepy. I bought a copy of the first edition of the hardcover of The Shining, and it's very much that 70s kind of gothic paperback feel for a hardcover. It's got like a guy that looks like Warren Beatty and this very skinny, sneering blonde lady, and then the kid with the glowing eyes. Well, there's like the mallet and the hedge animals kind of around too. But it definitely has that feeling of we're going to try to sell this to you as a traditional gothic, when it was Stephen King kind of reinventing this genre a little bit.
Yeah. And I started to appreciate that cover art more as I've gotten older, having access to it at the time and then later, with no knocks on this, obviously my own nostalgia, but there's a certain art to how those covers were done. Especially I was a big VC Andrews fan, and those were beautiful with the little inlets that they would do. And now I feel like, especially the ones that are just from the films, it's kind of a little disappointing. It doesn't like the classic ones. I think the first VC Andrews actually before Flowers in the Attic that I happened to read was My Sweet Audrina, which is one of her one-offs, which is
that
really
was the first
creepy.
one I read too.
Yeah.
I actually didn't read Flowers in the Attic until last summer. I don't know how I never.
Oh, wow.
They were all over the place. Those paperbacks. My mom had some. My aunts had some. I mean, they were everywhere. And I don't remember how I got a hold of My Sweet Audrina, but I did read that. And read it again a couple years ago, and I remembered it pretty much. Like I remembered the twist. I remembered the awkward sex scenes. I remembered all of it, and
The
I
gaslighting and
really
everything
enjoyed
is
it.
really, yeah, it's I love that as a kid myself, and as a kid reading the stuff. But this and Stephen King, because I had the advanced accelerated library card they gave, so that allowed you're a smart kid, so you can read crazy stuff. But Flowers in the Attic obviously is gothic in the sense of the kids trapped in the attic, the sort of the secret and being hidden in an attic and something like
In a rich person's house, right? Because
yeah,
it's their mother's parents, and they're
yeah,
waiting for the dad to die, right? Because they want all the money and he's never going to die. Is it
yes.
Dollenganger? Is it Dollenganger? Is that the name?
Dollenganger's the name they use. I think they make up uh,
Oh,
when the incestuous couple run off, and so,
right.
but the
Oh,
family
VC
is
Andrews.
the family is Foxworth. There's like Grand Foxworth
Right.
Hall, which
Right.
even burns down in Petals on the Wind, the sequel, which is I think somewhat of a classic trope of Gothic fiction, right? The House of
I
It.
was
I
gonna
feel like it
say the
happens
house
at
burns down.
Rebecca,
Yep. The
also
Shining.
in Shining, also in
Mhm.
Jane Eyre, right? Like the how
Yeah.
something about that happening is a big theme.
It's almost like the past is reaching out its bony, creepy fingers into the present, and the only way to stop it from doing that is to use the base element of fire to drive it back and to eradicate it as much as possible. Even in The Haunting of Hill House, uh, they don't burn the house down. The house will stand forever. But they say it should be burned down and the ground sowed with salt, which I always really loved that. In the movie version with oh, my brain is Swiss cheese. Who's the actor that plays Luke in The Haunting? Someone will know. I could picture him. Someone out there will know. I should know this. I'm mad at myself that I'm forgetting. Russ Tamblyn.
Oh
There
yes.
we go. Russ Mother Grab and Tamblyn. Yes. So yeah, it is interesting when you say that. Yeah, the houses they do tend to burn down. Salem's Lot, the scary house, the bad place has to burn down. Doesn't destroy all the vampires, but it eradicates the stain of the memory from the main character's brain, I guess, and then they can move blithely forward into a less creepy tomorrow.
Yeah, those. Uh, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just something I know, and I mean, I guess it's rooted in the fact that people live in homes. Homes have this sort of history and ancestral memory that people, literally people walking those halls who are no longer with us. Um, for older homes, I mean, even people don't tend to stay in family homes as long now, it seems. So I think that's something that is changed, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
even relatively well-off families, it's like a couple generations. So The Shining again addresses that, because the idea there's this whole history of people who've lived there and crazy things have happened, and I think that's something that's particularly appealing. And crazy lady at the window that we talk about. Um, folks go on Amazon. I mean, there's a description of your book, and there's a reference to uh, something changing into a dog, which
Oh.
led me to kind of imagine or hope that there would be werewolves in this. I don't believe there are sort of, but not to spoil it. But I did want to talk to you about werewolves, because that's one of the, we did witches last year. I think we did vampires straight up on our first edition, and so werewolves do feature into our beloved Dark Shadows. What do you think of werewolves? I mean, we'll start with werewolves on the Dark Shadows. Yes, you have.
And I think it says werewolf on. How do I do this? There we go.
There we go.
The werewolf. It's Chris Jennings. This is Chris Jennings, MPI people that made these. I'll just
Yes.
here. What do I think about werewolves?
Yes.
Is that the question? I tell my students all the time, I'm only afraid of two things: fire and werewolves, because vampires are kind of sexy and they have to be invited in. A werewolf can just bull its way through your wall and eat you in your bed whenever it wants to. Well, what's really, speaking of Stephen King, when I was 7 or 8, he sent me an autographed copy of the novel Cycle of the Werewolf with the screenplay Silver Bullet. And I had just, I don't know, I was a kid and I saw the movie Silver Bullet, and it scared the living American Werewolf and Silver Bullet were on the same videotape that my best friend loaned to me. She taped them off of the movie channel, whatever year, 1986, 1987. And so Silver Bullet, I had to leave the room during certain scenes, but then I would come creeping back and watch them again and again and again. So this is not, I just love that I have all this access on my desk. This is not the exact copy. It's a much better condition copy, but this is what Stephen King sent me. I treated it like a security blanket, and I carried it around, and it fell apart, and my mother taped it back together again because she's amazing. But it has these illustrations by famous comic artist Bernie Wrightson, like this one. Oh my God. I mean, look at that. Look at the teeth on that thing. So this came, and I was 8, and I read it immediately. Loved the illustrations. And it scared the absolute living hell out of me. But at the same time, look at the werewolf has kind of a nice butt, if you see that. And I was, developing into a little gay boy, and I was like, this makes me feel weird things. Like, he's terrifying, but he's naked. Yeah, furries. They scare me so much, and I think the idea is the same. What I've learned over and analyzing it over the several years is it's kind of the same as like a serial killer, right? They look like normal people on the outside, and then they have this horrible secret inner life that causes them to kill people. My friend Katya and I used to have a podcast called This Place Scares Us, and we talked about, I can't remember, a serial killer, and he murdered a young woman who was working alone in one of those coffee kiosks where it's like one person, and he pulled her out and killed her. And I remember saying, you know what? Life is hard enough. Working by yourself in a coffee kiosk is hard enough. You don't need to worry about some crazy killer coming to pull you out of the kiosk and murder you. And I feel that way about werewolves, where their whole raison d'etre, I guess, in the horror world is to demonstrate the animal within, right? The uncontrolled id, if you want to get gross about it. And they can't control themselves. They have no impulse control, and they will kill you. And there's two kinds of werewolf movies, right? There's the werewolf movie like American Werewolf in London, where, oh, I'm a werewolf. No, this is so tragic. I'm sad. I'm going to kill all my friends and then someone will put me down. And then there's there's a werewolf around and it's killing people. Now, who is it? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? And it's that fear of the other that permeates so much horror fiction. It's the fear that there's somebody who looks like us but really isn't like us at all, and they will demonstrate how much not like us they are by killing us, which, nobody wants that. And of course, on Dark Shadows, it was the American Werewolf version. It was the Chris Jennings with the, oh, I'm a werewolf and I'm so sad, and if only I could think of a way if only I knew when I was going to turn into a werewolf once a month so I could go somewhere and not kill people, or lock myself up in a room and not kill people. Not pick up my girlfriend's friends and take them out into the woods and kill them. If only there was some way I could figure that out. Which of course they never did.
Yeah, well, there's two. Speaking of that, there's two episodes. One where he kills Mr. Drummond from Different Strokes, and he says like, "Where's your room?" I want to let me lock it up. I'm turning it to my mother because she would always do that, where she would just be like, watching Vertigo, she would be like, I don't know, I think Mr. Drysdale let Jimmy Stewart out too early. That's like, well, that's not Mr. Drysdale's playing it. That's the actor.
But I knew exactly who you meant.
Like, she was humbling under her breath. We were watching it. I think she was like, Mr. Drysdale let him out too early because he's like stalking women. But anyway, so he asks Mr. Drummond to lock him up, the guy at the end. It's like, I'm going to rent this room. If you hear weird sounds, I'm a writer, and I just like to act out what I'm doing. And I've always been tempted to try that whenever he goes someplace with my wife. So if you hear weird sounds, I'm a writer. I get it. I act out what I'm doing, and I like to get into it. It doesn't work, but don't open the door. And of course, he does open the door. He hears growling. It's, are you in trouble? And he gets killed.
You do me a favor?
What's that?
Lock me in here. And another thing, if you should happen to hear anything during the night, just noises.
Noises?
I sometimes move around and act out what I'm writing. It kind of gets me into it. Don't pay any attention to anything you hear.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Well, it doesn't matter here. Thank you very much for your trouble. I want to be alone now.
Thank you, sir.
And please, be sure you lock the door from the outside.
Yeah, of course. Sure.
This has got to work.
Mr. Jennings? Mr. Jennings? Mr. Jennings?
Something that Dark Shadows does so well, I thought that it sort of doesn't get credit for, is its comedic farce in certain ways. So basically, Carolyn, the character Carolyn Stoddard's very annoying friend, sees Chris.
Donna Friedlander.
Yes, Donna wants to hit on her friend's guy that she's probably dating, but she wants to hit on. She's hitting on. Oh, he's just my type. After Donna, after Carolyn says he's kind of moody and sullen, and he has a secret. I'm not saying he's a werewolf, but he just seems like someone who's very moody and got a very deep secret. Maybe he's a werewolf, but
Maybe he's a werewolf.
Just saying, but she's like, oh, he's just my type. And then like he's just trying to get rid of her. She's like, oh, he tries to leave. It's like, I need to go to Boston. It's like, oh, I need to go to Boston. Can I go with you? Oh God. And so then he's like, this is dark. He's like got the pains, and then he says, okay, well, oh no, I'm in pain. Oh, I can here, take my keys, take my car. Keys. Take my car to go to Boston. And I'll buy a new car. Like, just take my car, whatever. Which is the thing. Like, that is just. That's the sign. If someone is like, just take my car, they're not that into you.
And in fact, they're going to rip you to pieces and leave you.
I'm about to leave right now.
Oh, then could you drive me?
To Bangor?
Well, I was so dreading the bus trip. I hate
Of course
buses.
he will, Donna. I'm sure he'd be delighted to have the company.
Oh, yeah, I would, but I'm leaving right now.
Well, I'm ready. Goodbye, Carolyn. It's been a lovely day. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Please come back.
Oh, I will. Well, where's your car?
It's just here by the gate. There's no way to park it down by the cottage.
Do you live on the estate?
Yeah, just down that path over there.
Is it an old and interesting house, too?
Well, it's old.
Well, I'd like to see it. Sometime. Is something wrong?
What?
You haven't been listening to me.
Oh, yes, I have. It's just that I got this headache. You see, I get them all the time. It's kind of like a migraine. I've just been thinking that I may not be able to go after all.
Well, I'll drive.
No.
You'll be over by the time we get there.
Oh, I know these headaches of mine. They just last. There's nothing I can do but try to get through them. Why don't you just take my car and go on?
Oh, no. Huh?
Yeah, it's fine. You take the car, so you can leave it at the bus station and just put the keys under the seat and it'll be fine. Okay?
Will you be all right?
Yeah, I'll be fine. It's just in the morning I'll be a new man.
And he thinks he's gotten rid of her, and she comes back for some ridiculous reason, and then he's a werewolf and he kills her. But yes, he doesn't have like Buffy with Oz on Buffy would develop the idea that, well, you just deal with this as an actual issue and just lock yourself up. And it's annoying, but once a month, lock yourself up and don't kill people and deal with it. Take your clothes off beforehand and so forth. Also, but unlike American Werewolf in London, he was sort of Chris Jennings was, and later Quentin Collins they were a classic Wolfman from the Universal Horror, where it's standing upright, wearing human clothing. I tend to prefer that because it's so uncanny valley. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you like?
The werewolf that scares me the most, like I said, is the one from Silver Bullet, because it looks like a bear and it breaks through windows. I wasn't. I was gonna say I was never afraid of the Wolf Man, but then once again, I just have these so handy. Do you remember these?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this was the Crestwood House Monster series. I used to check these out from the library, and I actually was really freaked out. I didn't see the Wolfman until years and years later, but like this picture of Lon Chaney Jr. and the Wolfman clothes, and there's one of Oliver Reed. Oh yeah, this one of Oliver Reed. Yeah, I mean it's totally uncanny valley. It's like they're people, but they're not. They have clothes. The Larry Talbot's clothes actually stay pretty remarkably put together. He would lose shoes and socks if he kept his shoes and socks on, but I don't think his clothes are ever torn up. But the other day I was talking about, I was teaching Into the Woods, and the poster for the British West End premiere of Into the Woods is like a shopping bag with a wolf, but there's a piece of the wolf is missing and it's human eyes instead. And I was telling my students how much I don't like animal and human hybrids. I don't like a human body with an animal head. I don't like that. It's very well, I wrote a paper in grad school called The Horrors of Hybridity, that people are uncomfortable. They want to know, what are you? Are you this or are you that? Which of course is why biphobia exists, why transphobia exists, that people want to say, well, what are you? Are you a boy or a girl? Are you gay or are you straight? Are you this or are you that? Or this binary has to exist. And werewolves are not one thing or the other. They are both and neither. And they wear clothes. That's what I love on Dark Shadows. It was always like the wolf that walks like a man and wears clothes.
Well,
Like, that's not a sign of some odd thing. Oh yeah, somebody just dressed their schnauzer up in a neat little pantsuit and sent him out into the woods.
oh yeah. Well, and when they went back to the 19th century, and Quentin Collins, the werewolf, he's in a
In a
frock
vest
coat.
and a suit.
Well, so a Victorian frock coat suit for a werewolf was such a
Which is
wonderful
even
look.
more unsettling, really, because it's sort of like, then it's the deeper past. It's a different time, and he has this animal head. I also love that it was the same actor. It was
Alex Stevens, yeah.
Alex Stevens playing the werewolf, significantly shorter than both Don Briscoe and
This incredible shrinking,
the incredible shrinking werewolf.
because he would be in a scene with, say, like Quentin's girlfriend Beth Chavez, and he's like shorter than her, but she's having to sell that she's scared of, like, so
Oh,
I think on the internet they would refer to him as the werepup, because he was so much shorter. But
oh. Well,
he's still very
somebody,
dangerous.
maybe it was on Danny Horn's blog. I've been rereading it as I've been finishing up Leviathan episodes and going into Parallel Time, and been rereading the comments from 10
Oh
years
yeah.
ago, and they were talking about the makeup. Somebody was talking about the makeup of the werewolf and how, like, what a disservice it did, because when there's these close-ups, he kind of is kind of cute, like he's got that little black
Yeah.
nose and he's sort of like scratching behind the ears.
Yeah, come on. The so on the 1980s TV show Werewolves, my first entry into that was Fox, on the Fox network. Very early on, one of his first shows was Werewolf, with John J. York and Chuck Connors. And my mother is a big horror fan. I was watching it, and she got me into it as a kid after describing the pilot to me. And of course, whenever she describes horror stuff to me, it would be scarier than the actual show, because there was no special. She had limited budget, and she'd be like, and then he pulls his face off and the wolf comes out. I'm like,
That's
rad. Pissing myself the way she described it. So it was just like, watching it would just be like, oh well, it's 19 special effects.
It was way scarier with mom.
Never. You don't talk about it. I'll just watch it from now on. It's so what they established was that there was no predictability. The idea is that the moon is always there, so it could happen any night. The only way you would know would be the mark of the pentagram on your palm, and it would first be like kind of like the outline, and it would start to swell, and then once it starts to bleed.
I remember that.
Yeah,
the werewolf was really freaky too. The werewolf, was very,
from Rick Baker.
Very The Howling, very which is another like amazing werewolf movie from the 80s. When I was in college, they made a sequel to American Werewolf in London. It was American Werewolf in Paris. I'm sure you probably have seen it.
Yeah.
And I was so angry because it was all digital. It was all really bad CGI. It's the same reason I don't like the 1999 remake of The Haunting of Hill House. It was just bad CGI. And there's so much to be said for practical effects. Like the practical effects in Fright Night are amazing. The vampire werewolf transformation in that is fantastic. The howling effects are fantastic. They still hold up, even on like an intense Blu-ray, like a 4K Blu-ray. You still look at them and go, "Wow, those are amazing special effects." And I just can't be scared of a cartoon. Like I can't be scared of an animated werewolf, because I look at that and my brain goes, "Well, that's not real." And then I look at something like Silver Bullet, which 40 years later it's still, I don't know. The effects still hold up for me. I look at them and go, that's pretty cool. It's
No,
all
I
rubber
I
and wet.
total I totally agree. I think the actual presence and when he would do either do miniature or whatever the trickery. Also, it felt more like a magic trick, right? So
Hmm.
part of me, I love magic tricks. So the idea of here's how we're tricking you to believe something that is bigger than it is, or so forth. Yeah, Rick Baker, I think had done the Howling, and he also did a special effects costume designer, and he did the Werewolf show. And I think the werewolf suits were based on grizzlies to the point. I think when my son picked up on this because we were at the Natural History Museum last week in New York, and we're in a bear section. They had a bear skeleton, and he was like, "Oh, that's scary." The bear skeleton is like it's like a werewolf, and it's like it is interesting. You see how you could from that skeleton design sort of a cape like from it's just a matter of how you attach things to that
Yeah. But
form.
they walk around on two legs too, which is
Yeah,
also unsettling.
it is. Yeah, they are and they're horrifying. So um the bestial aspects, the change, becoming something animalistic, the killing, I think, and you describe, because it's sort of here's what vampires do, but with it is sort of like the serial killer because it is potentially a nice person, but they have something horrific inside of them, and they could become, I don't know.
Norman Bates in Psycho is a werewolf. He just, instead of turning into a wolf, he turns into his dead mother and slashes you to death in the shower. It's, I mean, these places where
Yes.
people are vulnerable, and here
Um,
comes the thing to kill you.
well, yeah, and the time we have left, I'd love to actually talk to you about because it's 65 years since Psycho. And it's one of my favorites. It's very interesting of how it was made. But yes, it is so effectively scary because of how Hitchcock hits on everything, like the shower. I mean, this famously to Janet Leigh not taking a shower for the rest of her life because of that. But it is a scare, like you are so exposed, right? And someone could come in.
And naked and
Um,
wet. And I think everybody has had that feeling. I almost would say, whether they've seen Psycho or not, if you are alone in a hotel room and you're in your shower, I think there's always that fear because it's not your home
yes,
and you're not safe, and you're in this place where you're the most vulnerable you can possibly be. And if someone comes along to kill you, you are at such a disadvantage. You're slippery. You have water in your eyes. There's steam, and in the novel Psycho, he cuts her head off, which is
oh yeah,
even. Ah.
it's it is so you're so exposed. You haven't done all of the because we're not animals have their rituals of like you have if you have cats, but if you move they're very particular about here's where my new home, here's my rituals to like this is my territory now, and we have some aspects of that as we've evolved, but yeah, you can't really do that when you stay in a motel, especially it's one off the highway. That literally means that we took the wrong turn, and so it is very you're very exposed, and it's also done and it's not just for that, like right, like Hitchcock, he's a wonderful storyteller. I'm a huge Hitchcock fan
Mhm.
for that reason because it's also when she's decided to face up,
do do the
you
right
know for the
thing.
right thing. So it's about she's murdered during a sort of a baptism, during purification of herself, and it's all done,
God, I wonder
so
what it would have been like to have been an audience member back then and to not know. Like, I feel like
yeah,
it's Psycho is one of those movies where, when because I teach that movie too, where everyone knows the re, even if they don't know the exact details, they still have some idea of what's going to happen. And I just wonder what it would have been like to watch that movie the first time and to have been so surprised that the main character is murdered 40 minutes in to the movie. Um,
yeah,
I
people have
envy
that.
those people.
I do as well, and I try not to spoil it for folks because people, same with Vertigo, same with other films,
Mm.
because a lot of people will be like, for any number of films, will be well, everyone knows the twist of this film or Sixth Sense or this film. A lot of people don't. Like
They don't.
they fundamentally have a vague idea what it is, and they watch. Sometimes you can ever see reaction videos, and people have never seen something. They'll be like, "Really, this happens?" And it's a wonderful thing, that exposure. And this is a film. Um, you know, one of the many challenges with the 1998 remake, shot for shot remake of Psych, was that it wasn't really down to the idea they're trying, like, oh well, everyone knows, so we it's always good. It's going to be obvious from the front, from the start, and even who we cast as Norman Bates, we want you to be unsettled by him from the start, which is just not. It's one of those things where, like, did you watch the original film? Like, you really don't. You know, the advertising has Anthony Perkins featured, but not dramatically. You don't know. He's also pictured as sort of, he's scared, like he could be just someone who's scared. You don't really know that he's, you start to think, okay, well, he's spying on her. That's weird. But you really don't think, and he does the great twist, as they say, of Hitchcock does, of where you start to empathize with him once, because audiences have to do that, right? So she's dead. Who do I empathize with? Okay, well, now
who's my
it's
new
him.
identification character? Yeah,
It's him. He has to clean up after his mother and really get away with this. And and Hitchcock loves to do that, to get you sort of complicit in that. Like, oh no, I want to.
Well, that scene goes on forever too. My friends and I just went to see it at our local independent movie theater last weekend, and I just love watching it with an audience. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that scene where Marion is murdered, and then Norman says, "Oh, the blood," and comes down. I mean, it goes on forever. He cleans up everything. There's no cut. It's just, yeah, like you said, him taking over protagonist duties, because I don't think anybody really, I don't know if anybody really responds super well to Sam Loomis, the boyfriend character. He's a little too football player. He's a little too cardboard cutout, I guess. And Norman seems much more sympathetic with the shrill mother in the house and the creepy house above him too. So um what did I just see today on Instagram? Oh, it was like, which of these lines is the most red flag? Which of Norman's lines are the most red flag? Like, well, a boy's best friend is his mother, or my hobby is stuffing things.
Which is, the good. And obviously, I spoiler alert for people who haven't seen this and know. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
but
sorry, spoilers, guys.
The small detail of him deliberating over which room to give her, even though all rooms he shouldn't be just to just grab one, but he deliberates because the room that he spies on is the one where he kills the women.
Number one.
Cabin number one. And so that hesitation, it's not something there's no reason for there to be tension. You don't know that. And so it's something for a later rewatch. But yes, my wife and I saw it on Halloween, which is our anniversary years ago. And when we were in Seattle, we had the opportunity of seeing the Seattle Symphony perform the score.
Cool.
Which is great. Bernard Herrmann, one of his absolute, it's beautiful. And my wife, of course, said we have to play normal music at our wedding. Okay. But our rehearsal dinner, so on the 30th rehearsal dinner, this underneath score was all like stuff like so it'd be this or Beetlejuice, and especially that because it's very small, and so you're kind of eating and suddenly you get like like it does build. And then so someone's like, "What?" It has
the most marvelous thing I've ever heard,
and it has a very how could it's one of those things that I love with great score. It's just like, how could it not be anything but that? And like everyone who hears it, this is what you hear. You see the knife, you feel the knife. It is just wonderful. It arguably wouldn't work as well without.
Did you see the Gus Van Sant remake when it came out?
Yes, in the theater.
In the
It
theater.
was, um, and I was curious. I was in my 20s, so I saw everything that came out pretty much, and it was not. It's not interesting. It just wasn't interesting. It was sort of shot by shot. I was like,
With
well, what's
some
the
weird
point?
adjustments, some very strange adjustments, and
I think
I think
Julianne Moore, she disarms Norman. She kicks him in the she gives him nuts or something. So she
but it's
knocks him
also
out.
Vince Vaughn. It's Vince Vaughn um post what was that really douchey movie that he was in where
Oh,
everything is
there
money,
was
money.
was it Clay Pitt? It was some film with him and Stream Garofalo, Joaquin Phoenix, um and Vince Vaughn. And he plays a killer in it,
Oh,
and it comes out the same time, and he's sort of doing the same thing. So it's sort of
I
even
just couldn't
less
take him
interesting.
seriously. I was just like, you would, this is, and he's got those weird late 90s shirts on, like a weird polyester blue with um strange
Yeah,
spirals on it. I was like, I don't get this.
I
I don't know what
like.
to go
Well,
for.
I love the idea of playing against type sometimes, but in this case, Norman really needs to be,
Not Vince
someone
Vaughn.
someone unassuming, like someone unassuming who is. I mean, Norman Bates. Anthony Perkins is a very attractive man. He did, I'm sure, did very well for himself. He was not interested in women, but he did very well with men. He was a handsome man, but you buy that there's no that he that she would not feel threatened by him,
Yeah,
nor would she feel sexually threatened.
yeah.
Like the idea that he's trying to hit on me and I have a boyfriend. There's none of that. Whereas just Vince Vaughn's such a bro that I don't. He just doesn't
That's
exude.
it.
He just doesn't.
He's
He doesn't
the
exude
Norman
safety or
Bro Mears and
yeah.
Norman
So
Bates.
yeah, it was not particularly interesting, and I was. And I think Gus Van Sant said at the time, "This is I had to do this because it's a film that maybe people weren't seeing because it's in black and white." And I was like,
Oh,
and
that
I think,
hurts me.
and no one's going to see your film, and I think people still see Psycho, and I think they don't. I think it's interesting. I think audiences are more open to black and white movies now. So,
Mhm. Well,
than
you can see whatever movie you want now. I mean, I finally saw Halloween 3 the other day. It was on my list, and a terrible Jeepers Creepers, like all these horror movies I've never seen. That I was like, oh, I should probably see this. They're there. You can watch whatever you want to, and I think there's more. I find a lot of things just through Instagram. There's a movie called Messiah of Evil I had never heard of before. That is so my kind of movie. Have you ever seen this before? It's from the
no, I haven't.
70s.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's about a little coastal town in California, and this woman comes to find her missing father, and she meets up with some kind of hippie guys, and there's ghouls. There's this creepy ghoul who like eats a mouse in front of a lady, and then there's a really amazing scene where one of the hippies goes to a grocery store, so it's super brightly lit, and she's trying to find her way around the grocery store. And I was like, wow, grocery stores have not changed in 50 years. And all the people in the town are hunched over the meat section, and they're all eating raw meat. And then one by one, they all start to like sense her, and then they like she's trying to escape through the grocery store, and they keep showing up at the aisles. I mean, it's really, really, really scary and horrifying. And I had never heard of this movie before. Just scrolling through Instagram one day, and somebody was like, "Oh, Messiah of Evil is this amazing forgotten movie," and I found a copy, which was hard to find, but I did because it's the 21st century, and I watched it, and it was great. So anybody who's out there and wants a cool horror movie, Messiah of Evil, highly recommend it.
that's great because I was going to ask when we left for a Halloween recommendation. You read my mind and went straight to it. This was this is a great conversation. Thanks again. But your book, where can people find it and find
It's
you?
on Amazon. It's on Amazon right now. It should show up hopefully in bookstores soon. Here's the cover if you're wanting to haunt me then with the cool farmhouse. It actually looks very much like the farmhouse where I grew up. The cover is, I think, amazing. Very striking cover. But yeah, you can find it on Amazon right now. With my first novel, Black Forest. Thanks for plugging that, Stephen. And
Yeah.
I think they look like siblings. Where's my name? There's my name. Like the font for my name, can you see it? Yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Is like similar, not identical, and they look very nice together. They look like siblings, and it's different publishers. And I really appreciate what Horror Smith did with the cover art and stuff too. So please
Wonderful.
check that out if you get an opportunity. My website is bylaramiedean.com, and I am at Laramie Dean on Instagram. Please follow me. That would be marvelous.
Yes. Well, thank you, Laramie. Happy Halloween, everyone. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.